chosen one. I need to tell you something that nobody else will say out loud. You have been giving pieces of yourself away for so long that you barely recognize who you are anymore. And the worst part is, you do not even realize it is happening. You wake up tired even after sleeping. You feel empty even when surrounded by people. You smile and say you are fine, but deep inside, something feels broken. If this sounds familiar, stay with me because what I am about to share will explain everything. There is someone in your life right now who has learned exactly how to take from you without ever giving back. Maybe it is a friend who only calls when they need something. Maybe it is a family member who treats your kindness like an endless resource. Maybe it is a romantic partner who has convinced you that love means sacrificing everything while they sacrifice nothing. Whoever it is, they have mastered the art of making you feel guilty for having boundaries, selfish for saying no, and cruel for wanting reciprocity. You probably remember exactly when this started. There was a moment, maybe years ago, when they first came to you with a problem. You helped because that is who you are. You listened. You advised. You stayed up late talking them through their crisis. And it felt good to be needed. It felt meaningful to make a difference in someone's life. But what started as one conversation became a pattern. One crisis became 10. One late night became 100. And somewhere along the way, helping them became your entire identity in this relationship. If you have ever felt like someone's unpaid therapist, go ahead and comment, "I have been there," so I know I am not alone in this. Here is what they will never tell you. They noticed something about you early on. They saw that you are the type of person who feels deeply, who cares genuinely, who cannot stand to see others suffer. They recognize that your empathy is both your greatest strength and your biggest vulnerability. And whether they did it consciously or not, they began to exploit it. Not with obvious manipulation, not with cruel demands, but with subtle patterns that slowly trained you to put their needs above your own. Think about your last 10 conversations with this person. How many of them were actually about you? How many times did they ask how you are doing and then genuinely listen to your answer without turning it back to themselves? How many times have you started to share something important only to watch their eyes glaze over, waiting for you to finish so they can talk about their situation again? You have convinced yourself that this is normal. You tell yourself that some people are just more needy, that some relationships require more effort, that real friends show up even when it is hard. And you are right about that last part. Real friends do show up when it is hard, but real friendship flows both ways. The question is not whether you show up for them. The question is whether they have ever truly shown up for you. I want you to think back to the last time you were really struggling. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe you went through a breakup. Maybe you were stressed about work or scared about your health or confused about your direction. Who did you call? And more importantly, how did this person respond? Did they drop everything the way you always do for them? Did they listen with the same intensity you bring to their problems? Or did they offer a quick word of encouragement and then shift the conversation back to their own drama? The truth hits differently when you see it written out like that. If you are realizing something painful right now, take a breath and comment patterns recognized. Sometimes awareness hurts before it heals. Here is what probably happened. When you reached out during your own crisis, they were not really there. Maybe they were physically present, but emotionally distant. Maybe they listened for 5 minutes and then got distracted. Maybe they said the right words, but you could feel that their heart was not in it. And you know what you did? You probably cut the conversation short. You probably said, "Never mind, I am fine." You probably minimized your own pain because you could sense their discomfort with your need. This is the saddest part. You have become so trained to manage their comfort that you cannot even ask for support without feeling guilty. You have internalized the message that your role is to give and their role is to receive. The dynamic has calcified into something that feels impossible to change. And now here you are, exhausted and empty, wondering why you feel so alone despite being surrounded by people who claim to care about you. Let me tell you what is really happening. This person has built their entire emotional stability on your willingness to carry their burdens. You have become their shock absorber, their emotional dumping ground, their 24-hour crisis hotline, and they have gotten so comfortable with this arrangement that they genuinely do not see the imbalance. If you tried to explain it to them, they would probably get defensive. They would remind you of the one time they helped you move or the birthday gift they bought you 3 years ago. They would make you feel like you are being ungrateful for noticing that you give 90% while they give 10%. This is called emotional manipulation, and it does not require evil intent. Most people who do this truly believe they are good friends, good partners, good family members. They have convinced themselves that their constant crises are just bad luck, that their inability to reciprocate is just their personality, that your exhaustion is just you being dramatic. They are not villains. They are just deeply unconscious about the impact they have on others. But here is what you need to understand. Their lack of awareness does not make your exhaustion less real. Their good intentions do not erase the fact that this dynamic is slowly destroying you. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to feel resentful. You are allowed to want more than this. If you have been feeling guilty for being tired of always giving, let me release you from that guilt right now. Comment, "I deserve reciprocity," so you can start believing it. I know what you are thinking right now. You are thinking about all the reasons why you cannot change this dynamic. Maybe this person has been in your life forever. Maybe they are going through something really hard. Maybe you are afraid of being seen as selfish or cold. Maybe you worry that if you stop being their support system, they will fall apart and it will be your fault. I need you to hear this clearly. You are not responsible for another adult's emotional regulation. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Let me paint you a picture of what your life could look like if you started setting boundaries. Imagine waking up and checking your phone without that instant anxiety about what crisis is waiting for you. Imagine having a conversation where someone asks about your day and actually cares about the answer. Imagine feeling energized by your relationships instead of drained. Imagine having time and space to focus on your own dreams, your own healing, your own growth. This is not selfish fantasy. This is what healthy relationships actually look like. But getting there requires something difficult. It requires you to have a conversation you have been avoiding. It requires you to say things like, "I cannot be available 24 hours anymore. I need our friendship to be more balanced. I have been giving more than I can sustain, and I need things to change." These words will feel impossible to say. Your heart will race. Your hands might shake. You will want to take it all back the second you start speaking. And here is what will probably happen. This person will not understand at first. They might get hurt or angry or confused. They might accuse you of changing, of being a bad friend, of abandoning them when they need you most. They will push every guilt button they have installed in you over years of this dynamic. This is the moment that determines everything. Will you hold your boundary, or will you cave to their discomfort? Most people cave. They apologize. They take it back. They return to the old pattern because maintaining the boundary feels harder than continuing to suffer in silence. But suffering in silence is not actually easier. It just feels more familiar. And familiar pain often feels safer than unknown freedom. If you are ready to choose yourself even when it is uncomfortable, even when people do not understand, even when you feel guilty, show me by commenting, "I choose me." Let me tell you what happens if you actually hold the boundary. One of two things will occur. Either this person will step up and start showing up differently, or they will fade away. Both outcomes will hurt. If they step up, you will grieve all the years you wasted in an imbalanced dynamic. You will feel angry that it took a boundary for them to treat you with basic respect. If they fade away, you will grieve the relationship you thought you had, even though it was never really what you believed it was. But here is the beautiful part that comes after the grief space. Clarity, energy. You will start to notice how much lighter you feel. You will realize how much mental space they were occupying. You will discover interests you forgot you had because you were too busy managing someone else's emotional chaos. You will start sleeping better. You will start smiling and actually meaning it. You will start building relationships with people who understand that caring is a two-way street. I want to be very honest with you about something. Some people in your life are only there for what you can provide. Remove the service, and they remove themselves. This truth is painful but liberating. Would you rather spend your life exhausting yourself to maintain relationships that only exist because of your labor? Or would you rather create space for connections that feel easy, mutual, and genuinely nourishing? You might be thinking that if you stop being useful, you will end up alone. This fear runs deep, especially if you learned early in life that being helpful was how you earned love. Maybe you grew up in a family where affection was conditional. Maybe you were praised for being the responsible one, the mature one, the one who took care of everyone else. Maybe you learned that your value was tied to your usefulness. If this is your story, I see you, and I need you to hear this. Your worth is not determined by how much you can do for others. You are valuable simply because you exist. Your presence matters. Your feelings matter. Your needs matter. You do not have to earn the right to take up space in your own life. You do not have to prove your worth through endless service. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to be cared for with the same tenderness you show others. But nobody can care for you if you never let them see that you need care. You have become so good at appearing strong that people assume you are fine. You have perfected the art of smiling through pain. You have mastered the skill of supporting others while hiding your own struggles. And now you are trapped in a pattern where people only see the capable version of you, never the human who is breaking underneath. What would happen if you let someone see the real you? Not the helper, not the fixer, not the strong one who has it all together, but the person who is tired and scared and unsure, the person who needs support just as much as anyone else. What would happen if you said, "I am not okay," and actually meant it instead of following it up with, "But I will be fine"? If the idea of being vulnerable terrifies you because you are afraid nobody will show up, that fear is telling you something important. It is showing you that you do not actually trust the people in your life to care for you the way you care for them. And maybe that is because, deep down, you already know they would not. They have already proven it through their absence during your difficult moments, through their discomfort with your needs, through their pattern of taking without giving back. Comment, "I am ready to be seen," if you are tired of hiding your humanity behind a mask of strength. Here is a hard question. What are you actually getting from this relationship? Not what you hope to get. Not what you imagine it could be if they changed, but what are you actually receiving right now? Today, is it genuine companionship or just the illusion of connection? Is it mutual support, or just the satisfaction of being needed? Is it love, or just the familiar ache of trying to earn something that should be freely given? Strip away your hopes and your history and your excuses. Look at the actual reality of how this person shows up in your life. Do they celebrate your wins, or do they seem uncomfortable with your success? Do they check on you without needing something first? Do they remember important things you have told them? Do they make space for your feelings, or do they rush through your emotions to get back to their own? The answers to these questions reveal the truth you have been avoiding. You cannot love someone into treating you better. You cannot give enough to make them finally reciprocate. You cannot exhaust yourself into earning the care you deserve. This is not a math problem where the right amount of sacrifice equals the relationship you want. This is a fundamental incompatibility between what you need and what they are willing to provide. And no amount of trying harder on your part will change that. Some people are simply not capable of the depth of relationship you desire. Not because they are evil, not because they do not care at all, but because they are limited by their own wounds, their own selfishness, their own inability to see beyond their own needs. You can accept them as they are and adjust your expectations accordingly. Or you can release them and create space for people who can meet you at your level. What you cannot do is keep expecting them to become someone they have shown you they are not. I know you have invested years into this relationship. I know you have shared history and inside jokes and memories that matter. I know the thought of losing this person feels like losing a part of yourself. But what you are actually losing is the fantasy of who you needed them to be. The real version of this person, the one who has consistently shown you through their actions what they are capable of giving. That person you are not losing because you never really had them in the way you needed. Grieve what you thought you had. Honor the good moments even while acknowledging the overall pattern. Thank this relationship for what it taught you, even if the lesson was painful. And then make space for something better. Not perfect, not without effort, but balanced, mutual, nourishing in both directions. If you are ready to stop settling for crumbs when you have been offering full meals, comment "no more crumbs." Here is what I want you to do in the next 24 hours. I want you to notice every interaction you have with this person. Not to judge them or build a case against them, but to simply observe the pattern with clear eyes. Notice who initiates contact and why. Notice who talks more and who listens more. Notice how you feel before, during, and after interacting with them. Notice whether you are energized or drained. Notice whether you can be fully yourself or whether you are performing a role. Awareness is the first step toward change. You cannot shift a pattern you refuse to see clearly. So see it. Really see it. Not through the lens of who you want them to be or who they were 5 years ago or who they promised to become. See who they actually are right now, based on consistent behavior over time. And as you notice, be gentle with yourself. You are not stupid for giving so much. You are not weak for wanting to believe in people. You are not a failure because this relationship did not turn out the way you hoped. You are someone with a beautiful, generous heart who learned to give more than you receive. That pattern served you once. Maybe it kept you safe in childhood. Maybe it helped you belong when you felt different. Maybe it gave you purpose when you felt lost. But what once protected you is now limiting you. And you are allowed to let it go. Change does not mean becoming hard or closed off or cynical. It means developing discernment. It means learning to identify who is worth your energy and who is not. It means understanding that your kindness is precious and should be given to people who value it, not people who expect it. It means recognizing that you can be a loving person without being a doormat. The people who truly love you will respect your boundaries. They will not make you feel guilty for having needs. They will not punish you for asking for reciprocity. They will not treat your request for balance as an attack. They will say, "Thank you for telling me. I did not realize. I want to do better." And then they will actually do better, not just promise to change and return to old patterns within a week. Pay attention to how people respond when you set boundaries. That response tells you everything you need to know about whether this relationship can evolve or whether it needs to end. Someone who cares about you will care about your well-being, even when it requires them to adjust their behavior. Someone who only cares about what you provide will react with anger, guilt-tripping, or abandonment when you stop providing it. You are about to learn who people really are, and that knowledge, while sometimes painful, is also incredibly freeing. Because once you know the truth, you can make informed decisions instead of hopeful guesses. You can invest your energy where it will actually be valued. You can stop wasting your life trying to convince people to care about you the way you care about them. If this message has given you the courage to finally address the imbalance in your relationships, show your commitment by commenting today. I start choosing differently. Imagine your life 1 year from now. You have released the people who only take. You have cultivated relationships with people who give as freely as they receive. You wake up feeling peaceful instead of anxious. You have energy for your own goals because you are not constantly exhausted by other people's drama. You feel seen, valued, and appreciated. You laugh easily because you are not carrying the weight of everyone else's problems. You sleep deeply because your nervous system is not constantly activated by relationships that feel unsafe. This version of your life is possible, but it requires you to take action. It requires difficult conversations. It requires holding boundaries even when people push back. It requires choosing your own peace over other people's comfort. It requires believing that you deserve better. It requires faith that there are people out there who will love you without draining you, who will support you without keeping score. Those people exist, but they cannot enter your life while it is crowded with people who take up all your space with their needs. You have to make room. You have to clear out what does not serve you. You have to release what is familiar but toxic in order to receive what is new but healthy. This is scary. Change is always scary. But staying in pain because it is familiar is scarier. You have spent so much of your life being strong for everyone else. It is time to be strong for yourself. It is time to protect your energy with the same fierce devotion you have given to protecting everyone else's feelings. It is time to choose yourself, not from a place of anger or revenge, but from a deep knowing that you matter just as much as the people you have been sacrificing yourself for. Your needs are valid, your feelings are important, your boundaries are necessary, and anyone who makes you feel otherwise does not deserve access to your beautiful, generous heart. Save that heart for people who will treasure it, nurture it, and give back to it instead of constantly taking from it. The road ahead will not always be easy. Some days you will doubt yourself. Some days you will want to return to old patterns because they feel comfortable even though they hurt. Some days you will feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. That is normal. Healing is not linear. Growth is messy. But every step you take toward honoring yourself is a step worth taking, even when it feels hard, even when people do not understand, even when you are scared. Let me share something that might help you through the difficult moments ahead. You are going to have days where you question whether you made the right choice. You will see this person post something on social media and wonder if you were too harsh. You will hear they are struggling and feel guilty for not being there. This is normal. This is part of the process. Do not let these moments of doubt pull you back into a pattern that was slowly destroying you. When those doubts come, go back and read the messages between you and this person. Look at the patterns with objective eyes. Notice how many times you initiated. Notice how your problems get 3-word responses while theirs get paragraphs of support from you. The evidence is there. The pattern is clear. Your feelings are valid. Also, pay attention to what happens after you create distance. Does this person reach out to genuinely understand what went wrong? Do they take responsibility, or do they make it about them? Do they play the victim? The way someone responds when you set a boundary tells you whether they cared about you or just about what you provided. If someone truly values you, they will fight to understand and repair the relationship. They will sit in discomfort and have hard conversations. But if someone only valued what you did for them, they will disappear the moment you stop doing it. And as painful as that might feel, it confirms you made the right choice. Comment, I trust my decision, if you need the reminder that you are not wrong for choosing yourself. I also want to talk about something nobody prepares you for, the loneliness that comes before liberation. When you start setting boundaries, there is often a period where your life feels very quiet. The phone stops ringing as much, your calendar empties out. And this can be terrifying if you equate aloneness with worthlessness. But that quietness is not emptiness. It is space. It is the clearing that must happen before new growth can occur. Right now might feel lonely because you are used to being surrounded by people who needed you. But needed is not the same as valued. The chaos felt like companionship because it was familiar. But it was exhaustion disguised as relationship. Real connection feels different. It feels light instead of heavy. It feels mutual instead of one-sided. And you cannot experience that kind of connection until you make room for it by releasing what is taking up all your space and energy. I know it is hard to believe right now, but the people who will truly love you are out there. Someone who understands loyalty, who values depth, who shows up consistently. But those people cannot find you while you are buried under relationships that do not serve you. You have to clear the path. You have to create space in your life and your heart for something better to arrive. This waiting period is not wasted time. Use it to rediscover who you are outside of your role as helper and fixer. What do you actually enjoy when nobody needs you? What brings you peace? What dreams have you put on hold? This is your chance to find out. Start small, take yourself to lunch. Go to a movie alone. Try that hobby you have been thinking about. Do one thing each day that is purely for you. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You might feel guilty for enjoying yourself. But that guilt is a lie. Your joy does not take away from anyone else. You are allowed to live fully. If you are ready to refill your own cup before trying to pour into anyone else, comment, I am pouring into myself first. You are not going to get closure from this person. They are probably not going to suddenly realize how much they took from you. Waiting for that closure will keep you stuck forever. You have to give yourself closure. Write yourself a letter if you need to. Say everything you wish you could say. Then let it go. As you move forward, you are going to encounter other people who try to take advantage of your giving nature. But now you have wisdom that you did not have before. Now you can recognize the red flags earlier. Now you know what reciprocity looks like. Now you can set boundaries before you are depleted. Watch for people who love bomb you with attention at the beginning, but fade once they have your trust. Watch for people who share their trauma as a way to create instant intimacy without building real connection. Watch for people who compliment you excessively, but never show up when you actually need them. These are the signs of someone who is more interested in what you can provide than who you actually are. Once you know what to look for, you become much better at recognizing balance when it shows up. You will meet someone who asks about your day and actually listens. You will have a friend who remembers that thing you mentioned weeks ago. You will encounter people who say, "Let me know if you need anything," and then actually show up. And you will recognize immediately how different it feels. That difference is what you have been missing. That difference is what you deserve. Hold out for that. Do not lower your standards because you are lonely. Do not accept crumbs because you are scared of being alone. Do not return to dysfunction because change is uncomfortable. You have already done the hard part. You recognized the pattern. You made the decision to prioritize yourself. Everything from here is follow through. And yes, it is difficult, but it gets easier each day. Each day you choose yourself. You build momentum. Each day you honor your boundaries. You strengthen your self-respect. Comment, "My life is worth protecting," if you are ready to defend your peace as fiercely as you once defended everyone else. 1 year from now, you are going to look back on this as the turning point. You are going to see how everything changed when you finally decided you mattered. You are going to be grateful for the courage it took to walk away from what was comfortable but toxic. You are going to understand that letting go of the wrong people was how you made room for the right ones. That future version of you is proud of who you are becoming right now. That version wants you to keep going, to stay strong, to trust the process even when it hurts. You are exactly where you need to be, and everything is unfolding in perfect timing. So keep going. Keep choosing yourself. Keep honoring your worth. Keep building the life you deserve. Keep believing that better is possible because it is, and you are going to experience it. Not someday far in the future, but soon, because every choice you make right now is bringing that better life closer to reality. You are not alone in this journey. So many people are walking this same path, learning to value themselves enough to demand reciprocity, learning to release relationships that no longer serve them, learning to build lives that feel peaceful instead of chaotic. You are part of a quiet revolution of people who are choosing themselves after years of choosing everyone else. That is beautiful. That is brave. That is exactly what you deserve.